some goal for some. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some freaking money. It's time for Pocket with Jo.
Happy Thursday, everyone. Welcome to Pocket with Jo over here on SportsGrid TV. We've got a loaded slate out there on the ice, 9 games, and we will go over picks, props, and predictions in all 9 of these games, what I'm liking. Now, the Edmonton Oilers last night, I tell you, that matchup versus the Winnipeg Jets, wasn't expecting them to come out so cold to start the season. What an upset it was for Winnipeg to roll in there and shut them down. We did have some good games, though. We saw the Vegas Golden Knights be able to get the win over the Colorado Avalanche. We were able to grab them at a pick-up price there at home. Mark Stone playing a phenomenally strong game. And if you tailed Chris Kreider for a goal in the first period, you were able to hit it there with the New York Rangers. That was coming in at plus 700 as anytime goal at plus 170 as well. So there was some money made last night. There was also some money given back to the books, but we're going to go over all of these games today in detail, what I'm liking. Now, some of these teams on a back-to-back, and that will weigh into some of my handicapping here. But let's make some freaking money. I want to thank everyone for joining me here. I want to remind you to download the SportsGrid app, where you can follow all of my Madden quickies. I will have one up today for my best NFL bets of the day. But let's get started here. Let's dive into all of these games. Now, we will see the Boston Bruins back in action today, after on Tuesday they lost to the Florida Panthers. Now, that was a frustrating game for the Boston Bruins. They tried to make their way back, but just weren't able to get there. And then we have the Montreal Canadiens, who played the Toronto Maple Leafs last night. Now, they were able to get us that plus money win. If you took them plus the 1.5, put it in a parlay, you cashed. If you took them straight up on the money line, and Cole Caulfield, wearing 13 for the first time, was able to get the power play goal. So he wasn't able to go over the 2 points, but was able to get the goal last night. Now, Montreal on the second night of a back-to-back off a game versus the Toronto Maple Leafs, in which Sam Montague played absolutely fantastic for them in net. He set records, you guys, for a shutout in the first game for a goalie. He took 48 shots on his net, did not allow a single one in. My concern here is the Montreal Canadiens allowed him to take 48 shots on his goal. So we need the defense in front of him to step up stronger. Now, they'll be facing a Boston Bruins team that is in their home opener. Boston's rolling in at almost a $3 favorite. They're minus 275 on the money line. We have the Montreal Canadiens at plus 220. Now, when we look at that total is sitting solid at 6.5, plus 110 to the over and minus 134 to the under. Rivalry game between these two teams here. Swayman is expected in net for Boston at the current time. Premiership expected here for the Montreal Canadiens. Because I think this is a rivalry game. I do think Montreal could still hold this one tight. I know Boston's going to come in upset with their loss versus Florida, but I do think Premiership and the Montreal Canadiens, as long as they give him some more support defensively, should be able to keep it tight. I just think it's overpriced here for Boston. I'm going to grab Montreal plus 1.5. Plus 1.5 on that puck line is minus 118 right now. So that juice is dropping a little bit. It is the second night of a back-to-back for Montreal. So it is a hard situation for them. But I'm looking for that win over Toronto to give this young, vibrant team momentum. And I do think they come in here with the momentum. They've got to get those turnovers in the neutral zone, though. They have to play stronger defensively, and their forwards have to come out and get those shots on Swayman in this one. Now, I would look at Cole Caulfield again. He was able to score that goal on the power play. Cole Caulfield, just such an elite playmaker out here for the Montreal Canadiens. And I think the first period over 1.5 makes a lot of sense in this matchup. Looking at the first period, over 1.5 goals is coming in at minus 126. Boston is going to be hungry to get on the board in this game and not allow Montreal the upper hand, but I do think Montreal could sneak out a goal as well. Now, Charlie Coyle struggled in the season opener, and I do think he comes out stronger in this matchup today for Boston. So I'd be looking at Charlie Coyle props. I like his shots on goal to the over. I also do think Charlie Coyle could find the back of the net in this matchup tonight. Now, Brad Marchand, Elias Lindholm, so many playmakers here for the Bruins. If you want to look at some props, I don't blame you, especially with the defense and not giving the support. So Premier's going to have to stand on his side. Goalie props are not released as of yet. If his number is coming in at 26.5, 27.5, I will be hitting that to the over. And let's just double check to make sure it hasn't come out in the last couple of minutes for those goalie props in this one. No, we're still not getting goalie props between these two. Montreal will be able to get up for this game. Yeah, nice call on the Calgary Flames. I tell you, Calgary coming back and winning against Vancouver last night, not something that I saw. This young, hungry team definitely playing so strong out there. And I do think it's an emotional team that really is playing for Johnny Gaudreau as well. And I think we're going to have to weigh that into fact tonight with the Columbus Blue Jackets. All of these hockey players absolutely love Johnny Gaudreau, and it's a hard one, but Calgary really stepped up last night. Vancouver let that game go. Let's jump into the LA Kings. The LA Kings in action versus the Buffalo Sabres. Now, current lines on the LA Kings and the Buffalo Sabres. This is a pick 'em. This is -110. Either way, you have a total sitting at 6.5. Juice to the under at -132, to the over at +108. Now, if you like either team on the puck line, the books are giving you laying 1.5 with the LA Kings at +220. You would have to do an puck line for the Buffalo Sabres because, of course, you don't want to take +1.5 at -172. It's going to be an interesting matchup. So the LA Kings are without Drew Doughty, and everyone can say hockey, it's the next man up. I don't buy into that. Drew Doughty is a phenomenal defensive player out there for the LA Kings. And this is a Kings team that every year makes a push, gets into the playoffs, gets eliminated by the Edmonton Oilers. This is a team that I do think is in for some regression this year. I don't know if they make the playoffs, you guys. I'm struggling with them now. They have Darcy Kemper. He came over from the Washington Capitals. Darcy Kemper didn't have a great season with the Capitals. When we look back at him versus the Colorado Avalanche, he needs a team in front of him that does give him that support. If he was faced with 48 shots like Sam Montague was last night, Sam Montague had a fantastic game, don't get me wrong, but I think Darcy Kemper needs more support in front of him. He can't have 48 shots put on him for him to do well. So David Rittich is the backup goalie for Darcy Kemper. We'll see who we have tonight. But Darcy Kemper, it's really gross year that he's coming off a 3.31 goals against average and a save percentage under 900. This isn't the Darcy Kemper we all remember from playing with Colorado. He was so phenomenally strong with the Avs. And I do think this team here, I just can't trust them without Drew Doughty on the ice. With Drew Doughty on the ice, this is a strong physical team, and I do think they come out physical tonight versus the Buffalo Sabres as well. Buffalo Lankican, I believe in him in a net. He is a strong goaltender, and I do think both of these teams are headed in different directions this season. I'm looking for the Buffalo Sabres to make the playoffs this season. This is something that they haven't been able to do since I believe it was 2011. It's been like 13 seasons since they've made the postseason. Buffalo, I already took preseason to make the postseason. It's a mouthful. And we're getting great plus money on that. You can still jump in on that. You can just jump in on their points to the over as well. It dropped a little bit yesterday when we looked, or the day before. It was sitting right around 86.5. I like that to the over. I'm looking at Buffalo on Tage Thompson and the playmakers this team has with Lankican in net and the additions they made in this offseason to really step up. I do think, even though we saw them lose those first two games over in Prague, offensively, this team will look better out there. Defensively, I think they'll look better as well. The New Jersey Devils are a different beast. The New Jersey Devils, I think, have every opportunity of getting to the Stanley Cup. So take what you saw over in Prague and throw it out the window here for this Buffalo Sabres team. They came up against one of the best teams in the league, ready to play and ready to get that win. I don't think the LA Kings are at the same level. I do think the Buffalo Sabres here on the money line. Short dog at home, you guys. We're getting them right now. Actually, that line has moved. They were a short dog earlier at -104. They're now -110. Pick 'em situation. I'm going to look at Tage Thompson. Tage Thompson for the anytime goal coming in at +180. I think he's impactful right out of the gate in this game. Owen Powell is someone someone to watch out there. He was able to get one of the goals over in Prague as well. And that's about it, you guys. You look at this Kings team, and I know they have Kopitar, they have Kempe, they have talent across the roster offensively, but defensively, I don't trust them. And they weren't a team that really got a ton of goals last season. Jordan Greenway, I do think can come out strong as well tonight. He's kind of a long shot here for the Buffalo Sabres. We look at him in that last game in Prague. He was able to put up, it was 4 shots on goal in that game. So I do think with Darcy Kemper's struggles, with the great value we're getting on Greenway, we're getting him at +1 or +500 for the anytime goal. So that's a long shot anytime goal scorer, you guys, at +500, just because he's getting those shots on net. I do like him in this one. So Greenway for the anytime goal, Tage Thompson for the anytime goal. Watch Power out there. I do think Power can bring the power. And then the Buffalo Sabres on the money line. You can bet on the LA Kings. If you want to bet on the LA Kings, Kopitar had 26 goals and 44 assists last season. You look at Kempe, 28 goals, 47 assists. Those would be the 2 playmakers I would look at. I would lean to this one being an under game for the Kings. I can't take it under, though, for the Buffalo Sabres reasons, because I do think the Sabres will hit Darcy Kemper here. So it's going to be an interesting one to see where we sit with that total, because that total is sitting right at 6.5, and I could see it being a 4-2 game. My problem with the 4-2 game is the empty netter could come into play as the LA Kings try to get things done, really pushing it to that 5-2. Let's look at the next game, you guys. 9 games on the slate. Again, daily here on SportsGrid TV at noon Eastern. We'll talk every single one of these games, all of my leans, likes, picks, predictions in these games. Make sure you do me a favor. Hit that retweet button, hit that like button, and comment below. Let me know what you're playing tonight. We want to hear what your best bets are so other people can tell what you're liking as well. We really want to build a strong hockey community over here on SportsGrid TV. So do me a solid and let's go, you guys. Next, the Toronto Maple Leafs, off their loss last night, have to travel all the way to New Jersey to face the New Jersey Devils. And we've got a grudge match here. Who for? Who's the grudge really here for? Sheldon Keefe. Sheldon Keefe fired from the Toronto Maple Leafs. Best favor they ever did for him, though. He's now with the New Jersey Devils. As soon as he was fired, I wanted to see him with this New Jersey Devils team. I already told you guys earlier that I like the New Jersey Devils. I love them to be high in the postseason. I think they can take the Stanley Cup if they're able to stay healthy. This team has to stay healthy. They've improved offensively. They've improved defensively, and they've got Jacob Markstrom in net. They already won their first 2 games over in Prague, and I'm not considering anything to do with the travel here to be against them. Toronto played last night. Toronto will be hungry to find the back of the net after not getting a goal last night. But Sheldon Keefe versus his former team, he knows these players. He knows their weaknesses inside and out after coaching them for how many years. I do think he has the upper hand. The New Jersey Devils have the better team, the better goaltending. The New Jersey Devils are -142 on the money line, though. This is a problem here. They're -1.5 on the puck line at +168. Can they cover the puck line in this game? That's a huge question mark for me in this one. Toronto, off that loss, is going to be so hungry. They're +116 on the money line. Total sitting at 6.5, -118 to the over, and -104 to the over. I want to look at a couple things that aren't up yet, and we're going to check goalie props in this one as well. We know the Toronto Maple Leafs brought it last night. 48 shots on goal on Sam Montembeault. 4 of those hit the post, you guys. So they were so close. They had no puck luck last night, and we still don't have goalie props in this one. I do think this is one that you look at Jacob Markstrom's goalie props tonight. Toronto is facing a better defense here in the New Jersey Devils, but I do still think the New Jersey Devils' weakness last year was defensively and was goaltending. They've made improvements. I think that defense will still allow some shots on Jacob Markstrom. I'm looking for Jacob Markstrom to stand on his head. If he's coming in at a number as high as 29.5, I'm still going to take that to the over. I'm expecting the Toronto Maple Leafs to put 35 plus shots on net tonight. This is a team that is so solid offensively. And it's interesting. Both of these teams last season were better on the road than they were at home. Toronto had a better road record than home record, and the New Jersey Devils had a better road record than home record. Now, New Jersey is at home in this one. So kind of a little bit of a thorn here for them at home, especially at that minus 142 mark. So I don't love it, but I do think they are the right size. Now, the juice keeps ticking up on this. We were seeing minus 138 earlier in the morning for the New Jersey Devils. Again, sitting at minus 142 now. One thing you can look at here is the New Jersey Devils team total. I actually like this better. I expect a high-scoring game out of the New Jersey Devils either way. Dennis Hildeby is expected in goal for the Toronto Maple Leafs now tonight. So this will be his first official NFL or NHL game out there on the ice. And I don't know how he's going to do, because we got Joseph Wall on the IR. Stolarz played last night, and I don't think they put him back in net. We know the New Jersey Devils are so strong offensively. I think they pick away at him. So in this one, I'm going to take the Devils. Team total over 3.5. Looking at the over 3.5, it's coming in at minus 102. New Jersey with Markstrom is so golden, you guys, this season. Markstrom has to stay healthy, and the New Jersey Devils have to stay healthy, and they have to stay out of the box. This is the Devils team that spent too much time in the box last season, and I don't love it. But give me the revenge factor here of Sheldon Keefe. If you want to take the New Jersey Devils and you really do think they're going to dominate in this one, that puck line is so attractive, minus 1.5 or plus 168. I expect it to go that way, you guys. I think that team total is a stronger bet, though. Okay, let's jump into the next game. I don't want to keep you guys here all day. The Florida Panthers taking on the Ottawa Senators. Okay, so we know what Florida has. Florida has all of its core guys back. Yes, they've let go of a couple. They've lost a couple in free agency. Brandon Montour, a huge player to lose. But this team was able to go up against the Boston Bruins, put up 4 goals in the first period, and absolutely dominate out there. Sam Bennett looked absolutely fantastic. Sam Reinhart was able to get us that first period goal. Matthew Tkachuk came out flying. That being said, they're coming off a huge rivalry game with the Boston Bruins. They've had a day off, absolutely, but now they're facing the Ottawa Senators, who they have dominated in the past. Will they overlook the Ottawa Senators in this one? Is my question mark going into this game. They shouldn't, but this is a classic letdown spot. You know, they hoisted the banner the other night. Emotions are so high, and now they've got to head out on the road, and they are headed out, I believe, on 5 games on the road. I know they played Buffalo on Sunday. They are facing then the Boston Bruins again, I believe, on Monday in Boston. So they've got a long road schedule ahead of them. They're coming in at minus 134 here on the road. I was shocked that they weren't closer to a $2 favorite. We've got the Ottawa Senators coming in at plus 112 and a total of 6.5. Now, these two teams play brutal hockey versus each other. These are the two teams where, you know, everyone basically gets kicked off the ice. There's penalties across the board. We have the Tkachuk brothers against each other. And total 6.5. Okay. Let's look at this one, you guys. We got Bobrovsky expected in net for the Florida Panthers and Allmark expected here for the Ottawa Senators. It's so weird to say Allmark for the Ottawa Senators. We know he came from the Boston Bruins. When he was with the Boston Bruins, he absolutely owned the Florida Panthers. Last year versus the Florida Panthers, he was able to go, I've got these numbers here, 1.62 goals against average and a save percentage of 947 versus this Florida Panthers team. Allmark is the key for the Ottawa Senators to get the win tonight. Now, can Ottawa offensively come out strong enough and defensively come out strong enough and give Allmark that support? I do think so. They've prepared for this team. They haven't played yet. This is their home opener. This is their first game on the season. We saw the Winnipeg Jets be able to roll into Edmonton last night and get the win. I think the Ottawa Senators at home tonight can get the win over the Florida Panthers. Now, I know that's saying so much. Florida Panthers hoisted the Stanley Cup in Game 7 versus the Edmonton Oilers. They're coming off a fantastic game versus Boston, one that they kind of let go in the third period, though, you guys. I'm looking for this one to be a game where the Ottawa Senators finally get out of the rut where the Florida Panthers always dominate them. I do think Josh Norris for the anytime goal at plus 280 has so much value. I'm looking for him to step up this season. You got to remember that Ottawa's gone through a lot of changes. Travis Green, now their head coach as well, with a new goaltending, with additional pickups on offense or defense. I do think this team will be stronger this season than we did see last. That being said, it's Florida. It's the Florida Panthers. They've dominated the Senators in the past. So be careful with this one, you guys. I'm going to take them straight up on the money line. I'm not even going to play around with the plus 1.5. You can't even. You're laying way too much juice at minus 210. But at plus 112, give me the Ottawa Senators. Small bet in this one. You don't want to go too big when you're betting against the Florida Panthers. Let's look at the next game here. On deck, Utah versus the New York Islanders. Now, Utah looked absolutely fantastic in their season debut, but now they're facing the Islanders. I think this is going to be a much harder matchup for this team. And I still like this team, and I still like their playmakers. So current lines on this one, the Utah Hockey Cup coming in at plus 128. We got the New York Islanders at minus 154. And a low total. We got a total of 5.5. Plus 108 to the under, minus 132 to the over. When we're looking at this one, Varlamov is confirmed here for the New York Islanders, and I like what we've seen out of him in the past season. He had a 2.60 goals against average and a 918 save percentage. He also had a winning record at home last season. We were betting on him at home. He went 6-3-2 at home with a 2.75 goals against average and a 908 save percentage. And when we've seen him start off seasons, he started off seasons so hot. We look at him last October. Last October's numbers, he had a 1.51 goals against average and a 961 save percentage. I'm expecting him to get off to that hot start here. Yes, Utah came out versus the Chicago Blackhawks, but they didn't get that much resistance, especially in the neutral zone. We saw the Chicago Blackhawks let the Utah Hockey Club just dominate in all three zones, I really felt, in that last game. So I'm looking at Utah not to have the success offensively that we saw in the last one. Utah's goal number is coming in. It's so low, you guys. Under 2.5 goals at minus 102. That is the way I'm going to go with this game. I do think they struggle to find the back of Varlamov's net. Now, I would look at this game. I'm leaning to the full game under, but I just don't want to touch it. Patrick Watts, his second full season here with the New York Islanders. And I do think offensively, this team has made improvements. This is a team that struggled last year offensively, and I'm looking for a little bit of a step up here with the additions they've had. Now, Anthony Dunclair, fantastic player that they've also added from the Tampa Bay Lightning. When he joined the Lightning, he was able to come out and be impactful right away. They also added Steven Stamkos here. I'm looking for a lot out of him as well. So Anthony Dunclair added, Steven Stamkos. I would expect both of them to get points tonight here for the Islanders. Bo Horvat, we have, and Matthew Barzal. This is a strong team, and I do think they get the win. Now, that's not saying anything against the Utah Hockey Club. Clayton Keller was able to get us the goal last time. If this team is able to score in this one, I would expect it to be Clayton Keller, but I'm not going to take that prop because I am riding the Utah Hockey Club under 2.5 goals. If you're brave enough, you can take the Islanders laying 1.5 at plus 162. My problem here is I don't love, and you guys know I'm going to do it. If I mention it, I'm going to do it. I don't love taking an under on one team, leaning to the under in the game, and then taking the other team, laying the 1.5. But I really do feel this is more than likely a 3-1 win here for the New York Islanders. At worst, it's a 4-1 win, which still is a higher, we're covering that puck line. So laying 1.5 plus 162. New York is 9-1 straight up against Utah. when they were the Arizona Coyotes. Yes, name change here, and 6-1 straight up during their last 7 games played at home. This is a strong home team. This is a team that I do feel can cover that puck line as long as we see those offensive step-ups that I'm expecting. Connor Ingram in net tonight here for Utah. Yeah, Sidney Crosby absolutely let us down. Starting his 20th season last night, I really expected more out of him. We'll see what we get out of him tonight. Let's look at the Pittsburgh Penguins. Sid the Kid will be out on the ice versus the Detroit Red Wings. Now, the Pittsburgh Penguins are an older squad, and this is my problem with an older squad on the second night of a back-to-back versus a young squad like the Detroit Red Wings. How tired are they going to be? Now, last season, the Pittsburgh Penguins actually and the Washington Capitals were sneaky on the second night of a back-to-back. It's almost like these older teams had a little bit more oomph in their pucks in that second night. So I'm not completely weighing them out in these matchups. Let's look at the Pittsburgh Penguins here, though, and those current lines. And again, current lines are all over on FanDuel. While I just find the current lines on this, I want to remind you guys, check out the SportsGrid app. I will have my Madden Quickie for NFL tonight over on there. As soon as we get off here, I will be getting that recorded. A great game on Thursday Night Football. So the Pittsburgh Penguins taking on the Detroit Red Wings, jumping into this game. The Red Wings are the favorite here at home on their home opener at -137. The Penguins roll in here at +114, and this total sitting at 6.5. Lots of 6.5s out there, a couple 5.5s, but majority of these games are 6.5 today. That is -118 to the over, so a -104 to the under. I do think this is a higher scoring game. The Pittsburgh Penguins really let us down versus the New York Rangers last night, and I'm expecting more out of them offensively in this game. They struggled last season to score on the power play, and that was the same thing that came back and showed us again last night. This team went 0-3 on the power play versus the New York Rangers. They need to find a way to score when they're up a man, and they need to find a way also to they allowed a power play goal by the Rangers as well. So they need to find a way to play better on that power play. It was super frustrating to watch them fall apart. Now, looking here at them, Boomquist is expected. This will be his first NHL game. Detroit expected to start Husso. Now, Husso's 1-1-1 record in 4 games with a 4.12 and an 8.81 save percentage versus the Penguins in his career. So Billy Husso doesn't have good numbers versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. Another reason for leaning this one to the over. I do think Detroit will get the majority of the goals in this one. I could see it being a 4-3 game, though, with how Husso has struggled versus the Penguins. I'm expecting the Penguins to be able to put up their share of the points in this one. Now, we look at Detroit at home versus the Penguins, 6-3-1 in their last 10 games. So they have dominated this matchup, especially at home. Young squad looking to make the playoffs. They haven't made the playoffs since the 2015-2016 season. I was expecting a little bit more out of them, a little bit more of a push last season, but I think we could get it in this one. They added Vladimir Tarasenko, and Patrick Kane has re-signed with this team. So I do think they have the talent. Sid the Kid really needs to step up for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Just give me the over 6.5 in this one. I don't love the juice that we're paying for the Detroit Red Wings on that money line. Okay, next game. Dallas. The Dallas Stars versus the Nashville Predators. Now, Dallas is a favorite here on the road. They're coming in at -118. We have the Nashville Predators at -102. This total sitting at 6.5. Juice to that under. You're going to have to lay -120 to the under here and -102 to the over. If you like the puck line for the Dallas Stars and you think they're going to roll into Nashville and get a big win, laying 1.5 coming in at +110. I do think the home opener here for the Nashville Predators is a solid way to look. You got a home underdog at -102 with the Preds, and I do think the Preds offensively have so much strength. Jake Ottinger expected here for the Dallas Stars. He went 35-14 and last season with a 2.72 goals against average and a 905 save percentage. He was able to record 3 shutouts as well. I really do think when we start the season, the offenses have the upper hand over goaltending, and I do think the Nashville Predators, with their abilities offensively, will be able to hit Jake Ottinger tonight. They made improvements as well, so I'm looking for a lot more out of this team. Stamkos did not join the Islanders. Stamkos joined here the Nashville Predators. I misspoke before, and I'm looking for Stamkos to come out really strong and be impactful here. We also saw Jonathan Marchessault from the Vegas Golden Knights join this team as well. So that's where I kind of had the brain fart, you guys, thinking he had joined, Steven Stamkos had joined the Islanders, but he is not. He is over here with the Nashville Predators. I'm looking for them to be highly impactful in this matchup. Now, they still have Ryan O'Reilly and Philip Forsberg. You look at Ryan O'Reilly, 69 points last season. Philip Forsberg, 94 points. They made so many improvements on this team, especially on the offense, that I think they will be able to come out nice and strong. Now, Rupe Hintz, last season for the Dallas Stars, he had 35 assists, 30 goals. He would be someone I would be looking at. Jason Robinson's listed day-to-day. We also have Wyatt Johnson listed day-to-day. Robinson is listed day-to-day with his foot. Wyatt Johnson, it's undisclosed, so we don't really know what is happening. This is a strong offensive unit with these players on the ice. Dallas has also been really strong versus the Preds. They've gone 6-2 in the past 8 meetings, but I do think the Predators, with their increase in offensive production, will be able to get the win here tonight. Now, Saros is doubtful. He's day-to-day with a lower body injury. They've added Scott Wedgwood and Matt Murray are both the backup goalies there. So Casey DeSmith is the backup goalie for the Dallas Stars. Give me the Preds on the money line in the home opener in this one. The Columbus Blue Jackets are taking on the Minnesota Wild. Now, current odds on this one, let me just pull it up all over on FanDuel, you guys. The Columbus Blue Jackets are rolling in here as the dog on the road. They're at plus 230. On the puck line, plus 1.5 at minus 110. You're looking at the Minnesota Wild money line at minus 285 and puck line minus 1.5 at minus 110. This total sitting at 6.5, minus 122 to the under. Looking at this matchup, this is going to be an emotional game for the Columbus Blue Jackets, an emotional season for this team. This team absolutely is playing for Johnny Gaudreau, and you can buy into these storylines if you want to or not, but I do think the Columbus Blue Jackets have every opportunity of coming out strong in this game and making it a real challenge for the Minnesota Wild here in their home opener. Gustafsson needs to rebound here. The Minnesota Wild's goaltender from a terrible season last year. I can't trust him in that for the Minnesota Wild, and we've got Elvis getting the start here for the Columbus Blue Jackets. This team, you're seeing the goaltenders, they've got all the tributes to Johnny Gaudreau. We know in their locker room, Shane Monahan, he was best friends with Johnny Gaudreau, and he's been added to this team. We thought we would see these two back together, and we're not going to see these two back together. Monahan, all his props to the over. He's going to explode in this game tonight. I'm taking Shane Monahan for the goal in the first period at plus 1,000. I'm also taking Sean Monahan for the anytime goal in this game at plus 250. He held so much value here. He's going to be playing for Johnny, and I do think he finds the back of the net. I'm also going to look at the Columbus Blue Jackets plus 1.5 at minus 110. I'm also going to take them straight up on the money line. Now, that money line has actually moved. It's plus 230. When I got it earlier, it was plus 195. I do think you're getting so much value with this team. The offense should be good again here for the Minnesota Wild, but defensively, this team struggled last season, and Gustafsson I don't trust. So Columbus all day for me in this matchup where they're playing with their hearts. Now, Bonjenner is still on the IR. Max McHugh, younger player, he's on the IR as well. But I do think this is a higher scoring game. You can look at the over 6.5 if you don't want to just take Columbus straight up. The over 6.5 coming in at plus 100. I also think this is a nice opportunity for first period over 1.5 goals at minus 132. You can also look at both teams to score at plus 168. Kaprizov here for the Minnesota Wild. He's got strong numbers coming in from last season. He was able to get 46 goals and 50 assists. Matt Boldy, also another player you can circle for the Wild. You guys, we got one last game to go over. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that retweet button. I would really appreciate it. So the St. Louis Blues taking on the San Jose Sharks. Now the Blues have a game under their belt. They're coming in here at minus 156. The San Jose Sharks at plus 130. This is a total of 5.5. Minus 122 to the over and plus 100 to the over. Jordan Binnington expected here for the St. Louis Blues, and Mackenzie Blackwood expected for the San Jose Sharks. Now, we know the Sharks' goaltending was a huge issue last season. Mackenzie Blackwood allows beach balls to go flying in. But this was a sneaky team at home last year, able to capitalize and get the win. They swept the Blues last season as well. Now, I was high on the Blues in that last game versus the Kraken. They were lucky to win that. They got 3 goals in 1 minute and 55 seconds. We were able to get Robert Thomas for the point in that game. Robert Thomas, again, someone I'm high on this season. I'm looking at him in these games. I'll go back to him for the point tonight. I do think he can come out strong. This defense of the St. Louis Blues is a strong defense, and I like Jordan Binnington in goal. Celebrini was the draft pick that the Sharks picked up. He's going to be number 71 out there on the ice. I think it's going to take him a while to get fully in the swing of things, but he's going to be hugely impactful for the San Jose Sharks, and I'm looking for him to come out strong, and the Shark fans should have so much excitement around getting Celebrini here. So looking at this one, home opener for the San Jose Sharks, a team that can be dangerous at home. A little bit of a flyer, just putting some money, just a couple dollars on the San Jose Sharks for me in this one. Let's see if there's any props here on Celebrini, because I do think Celebrini can come out nice and strong, even though it's going to take him a while. This kid is absolutely fantastic on the ice. Now, if you're looking for him for the anytime goal, I'm just trying to find those props over on FanDuel. Obviously, it's pretty high because he's not listed in the first couple here, you guys. So just give me a second. You can look at Tyler Toffoli. He has been added to the Sharks as well. You know my faith in Tyler Toffoli. I like what he brings to the table. So he's coming in at plus 250 for the anytime goal. Celebrini coming in at plus 260. And the more I think about their combination out there on the ice, the more I like it. Now, you do have Kyrou over on the St. Louis Blues, his anytime goal at plus 185. Between Kyrou and Robert Thomas, I do think those players will come out and get those points on the board. And Jake Neighbors. But then you have Tyler Toffoli and Celebrini. Will Smith as well. Sneaky look for the Sharks. Will Smith was strong for us last season. We were able to cash a lot of his props. So I would be circling all of those players. This total of 5.5. I understand why it's a 5.5 because of the Blues defense and because of Jordan Binnington. But the Sharks team, we saw them have some fantastic games last season where they were able to just light the lamp consistently. I'm looking at the over 5.5. This game was at a 6 earlier. So let's just look at the over 5.5 and what kind of juice we're having to lay on that. It's minus 122 to the over. I'm just going to see if we've got alt totals in this one over on FanDuel as well, you guys, because I could see this one being, a 7-goal game. So if we're getting an over 6.5 with enough value to take it to the over 6, and I'm really not finding it here. I don't think there's going to be overtime in this. You watch this be the overtime game of the night, but a first period, you can look at the over 1.5. I do think the over 1.5 in the first period, even though St. Louis Blues and the Seattle Kraken in that first period, we didn't see those goals come in. I think this one could be a game where we see the goals come in. Tyler Toffoli for the goal in the first period is coming in at plus 1,000. I don't hate it, you guys. He's the first Sharks player to be listed for the goal in the first period. Before him, it's Jordan Kyrou, Robert Thomas, neighbors. It's everyone for the St. Louis Blues. So if I'm looking for tonight, players for the goal in the first period, who I like best, it is Monahan there of the Columbus Blue Jackets at plus 1,000. But longer shot as well here with Tyler Toffoli at plus 1,000 as well for the San Jose Sharks. So you guys, those are all 9 games on the slate tonight. I really do think we're in for a night making some money. We saw some upsets last night. I do think the Ottawa Senators will be that team that gets the upset win tonight over the reigning Stanley Cup champs. I think we got some higher scoring games. I think we got some pretty predictable games, in my opinion, with the New Jersey Devils coming out and beating the Toronto Maple Leafs. That revenge factor is huge. Oh, and one thing I forgot here with the Columbus Blue Jackets, we do have a revenge factor here for their head coach. Now, I always draw a blank on his name. Dean Evanson was the head coach last season of the Minnesota Wild. So he knows his team inside and out as well. And I do think he is going to put Columbus in the best situations to beat his former team. So I'm high on Columbus as an underdog. Columbus, Ottawa, my 2 favorite underdog bets of the day. If you want to take both of those teams plus 1.5, parlay them together, I'm going to take both of them on the money line as well, you guys. I think they can get the win. Will I throw those 2 in a parlay? Heck, now that I've said it, I think I will. But you guys, all the best in all your bets today. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here today on Puck It with Jo over on SportsGrid TV. Again, if you can hit that like button, if you can hit that retweet button, I would so greatly appreciate it. And please drop below what you're liking today in today's matchups. If you've got a player prop for us, we definitely want to hear that. I'm going to be looking through and answering back to any questions or comments you do have on the video. So drop those below, and remember, live interactive shows. So make sure you ask me the questions here. Put me on the spot. Ask me whatever you want. We're going to talk hockey each and every single day here on SportsGrid TV at 10 p.m. Eastern, or noon Eastern. It's 10 a.m. my time, and it's not even p.m. Noon Eastern, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. You guys know the deal, 11 o'clock Pacific. So you guys, all the best in all your bets. Let's make some freaking money out there tonight on the ice.
Hit some anytime.